So honesty here. I faked it for 20 years in the events industry. Here's what I finally figured out. I want to tell you something that I've never quite said out loud quite like this before. For 20 years, I completely faked it. I didn't fake the events. The events were good, really good. I worked with high-end brands like Bentley, Freshworks, and Snowflake Software. I was hired over and over again. I built a career I was genuinely proud of. But there was something I couldn't do. I couldn't explain why my events were successful. I could feel it in the room. I could see it in people's faces. My clients told me. I knew when something landed and I knew when it didn't. But if you sat me down in front of a leadership team and asked me to prove in a way that connected to the business, I had nothing. For a long time, I just kept moving forward this way. I just keep taking events, planning events, executing experiences because it wasn't costing me anything. Until I stopped and I asked myself a question that I just couldn't shake. Why haven't I figured this out yet? Here's how far back my faking goes. My first real writing gig was an internship at the state capitol. I was writing press releases for the House of Representatives, and it sounds pretty impressive, right? My entire previous experience was writing fluff pieces for my college newspaper. I recently found one of those old pieces in my basement, the one that made the front cover. I wrote about our recycling program, and my pull quote, the one they pull on the cover of the newspaper, was this: "Save water, drink beer." I mean, I still kind of stand by that one, but it also made me realize that I've been winging it since the very beginning, moving from one opportunity to the next, figuring it out as I went, betting on my instincts and my energy and my ability to just make things work. And here's the thing. That served me. For a really long time, it served me. But then there's a ceiling when it comes to winging it, and I certainly hit it. A few years ago, I was brought into an association management company specifically to bring fresh thinking to a golf tournament. They had been running this tournament for years and years. Leadership felt like something needed to change. The event wasn't landing the way that it used to. They wanted to bring in new energy, which was me. The problem was that they already had a planner. So I walked into it and immediately felt like an intrusion. I tried to be collaborative. I tried to be respectful of her process. But if you know anything about me, you know that I get wildly excited about ideas and I just can't help it. So I showed up to that creative meeting. It was in Scottsdale. I was ready to go. I had a concept for attendees to win an Aston Martin rental for the week for the conference. I had helicopter tours over the desert at golden hour. I completely reimagined this beverage cart experience that turned a logistical necessity into an actual moment people would remember. Every single idea was shut down. And it wasn't because the budget wasn't there, and it wasn't because the logistics couldn't be planned. It was because we've always done it this way, and it's worked. I wish I had the vocabulary then that I have now, because I would have asked her to define worked. What does worked mean? Leadership actually brought me in precisely because what had been working was no longer working. But I didn't have that language. So we moved forward with a slightly elevated version of the same event that they had always done. And I went home knowing something needed to change. Here's what I want you to understand. This is not just my story. 79% of event professionals can't prove their success, that it was successful. 79%. That number has barely moved in years. And I want to talk to you about what this looks like inside that number. You defend your budget every single cycle. Your events are the first thing cut when things get tight. You sit in rooms where leadership makes decisions about your work without consulting you. You know your events are good, but you can't prove it in a language that actually matters in business. It's not a talent problem. It's not that you're not good at your job. It's an experience problem. It is a framework problem, and nobody in our industry ever gave us a framework for this or explained how we do this. We were trained to execute, build the timeline, manage the vendors, handle the unexpected, pull it off flawlessly, and hope the client felt like it was worth it. Hope. Hope is not a career strategy. That's just expensive optimism. So about 4 months before I launched the Education Institute, I stopped what I was doing. I went back and I audited all of my own events, every significant one I could get my hands on. I looked at what made them successful and what made them fall flat. I looked for patterns and I found them. Emotion kept showing up. The events that truly worked, that people remembered, that drove real results were designed with emotion at the center, not as an afterthought, as a strategy. Success measures kept showing up too, or more accurately, the absence of them. The events that couldn't be proven successful were the ones where no one defined what success looked like before the event happened. So I dove deep. I read about 10 books. They covered emotion design, behavioral psychology, experience design, and business strategy. I researched how experiences create lasting change. I studied what conditions would make that possible. And then I built out the framework. It's called the Experiential Edge. I built a 5-pillar framework for strategic experience design. It's the thing that I wish that someone had handed me at the beginning of my career. So I went ahead and built it myself. And then I kept going. I built an AI-assisted tool called Atlas that walks you through the entire event process. It helps you build a proposal that sets up success measures from the very beginning. It designs brand anchor moments. It generates a final outcome report after the event, so you don't have to actually prove success on your own. You can actually plop it all in there, print it out, and then provide it to the leadership team. Not hope, but proof. I'm 47 years old, and I've been in this industry for over 2 decades. And I can honestly say that for the very first time in my career, I don't have to fake it. I know why my events work. I can be able to articulate it before the event even happens. I can design for it intentionally, and I can prove it after the fact with a framework that connects every single decision back to business outcome. I command more now. I hold my own in the C-suite. I am not defending my budget anymore. I am leading that conversation. And that didn't happen because I got more talented or more experienced or planned more events. It happened because I finally had the right framework. And now I teach it. If any of this part sounds familiar, if you have ever walked away from an event knowing it was good, but not being able to prove why, if you have ever felt like you've had one hard question from a CFO or operations person just feeling exposed, I want you to watch my free training. It's the clearest picture that I can give you of what strategic experience design actually looks like in practice and what becomes possible for you when you stop winging it and you start designing with intention. The link is in the description, and I would genuinely love to see you there.